what do they know that I don't? And that got me curious. And it got me curious as to, okay, how do I craft this path for myself?
At that point, when I decided to change my life, I changed everything, my identity, my name. I changed everything about me, bro. I changed my name.
It's not about making $1 million. $1 million means fucking nothing, right? It's the person that you become in the process to make $1 million. That's what's fucking valuable, because you can lose that million tomorrow and you can go and make it back. All right, welcome to another episode of Charge It to the Game. I'm with my host, Rome Nasrallah. I'm with Aman. My name is Misha Perov, and we got two very special guests on the pod today. We got Tapa, we got Adrian. Two clients of ours, guys we've been working with for the last few months, and we've been crushing it. And I think we booked a trip to Tulum. We booked a trip here, and then we found out you guys were here like a week after. Then it kind of just like worked out that we linked up, got the cool spot, and now we're shooting the podcast. So yeah, I mean, you guys both. You guys have been in the game for so long now, years in the game. Doing content, running your businesses online, multiple different businesses, and obviously this is a sales podcast. We do sales, but I mean, I think, all of us are in agreement that like sales is kind of the core of any business, right? And we've been talking about it too, right? How like, when it comes to marketing, when it comes to speaking on camera, you have to be in a certain level of state to, sell, right? So, I guess today's pod, kind of just want to pick your guys' brains, hang out, chill. But before we do, guys, cheers to an amazing trip in Tulum.
Cheers, boys.
Cheers, boys.
Cheers, boys.
All right, let's jump in. You guys got any hard-hitting questions to kick us off?
Yeah, actually, I'm curious. I was thinking about this. Did you guys learn sales like before getting into what you're getting into, or you felt like you had to learn it after you got into it? Like, oh fuck, I'm missing this skill.
For me, it was just more so like, I actually used to work door to door. I used to sell newspaper subscriptions in Hamilton to different apartments. Like we wouldn't go to the houses because the houses were just like, you go one block, another block, another block. One of my managers was just like, dude, why don't we just hit up the fucking apartments and stuff like that? So we hit up all the apartments, and it's just like one apartment door, walk 10 steps, next apartment door. And we just be like selling these subscriptions like crazy. It honestly only took me about 2 weeks to get really, really good at it. Obviously we went through like, the trainings and stuff like that, did a little bit of role play as well.
Yeah.
And it just really helped me like with a lot of my confidence, because before, like I could barely talk to anybody. Like I was a very insecure, introverted kid. And just getting into like this sales training and putting myself out there where I actually have to talk one-on-one with the person, it boosted my confidence up like crazy. And it also helped me with like even talking to women or just like getting my way around shit for school as well. You know what I mean? Like bullshitting to teachers.
Did you say newspapers?
Yeah, we sold newspapers for the Hamilton Spectator.
You know who else started selling newspapers?
Who?
Warren Buffett, bro.
Really?
Warren Buffett, Mark Cuban. You're in good company, man.
Yeah, we sold subscriptions. I don't even remember how much it was, but I just remember coming in and just being like, hey, did you hear the good news? And she was like, oh, like, what's the good news? Oh, let me just give this to you. We gave them like a chocolate bar or something like that just to make them feel happy, or some sort of $5, $15 gift card. And then after that, it was just kind of like, you kind of just get into the pitch. You tell them like, hey, here's the newspaper subscription services and stuff like that. She's like, we're selling to people that could barely afford their rent. Keep in mind, they live in apartments and stuff like that. But I was actually not at the top. Yeah. I was not at the top. The door-to-door sales, I was only in it for about a month and a half. I didn't sell as much. I was still making like really, really good money. I was making like $1 to $2K per month, but like it was way better than working in the kitchen or any other job that I've ever had. You know what I mean? Because it's just like, you're just talking to somebody. You're not.
Is that why you got into it?
People.
Is that why you got into it? Like just because of the money, or because of
I literally just got into it because I just hated working like the typical 9 to 5 where you're literally trading your time for money. And like the way that I seen it, it's just like, okay, if I could work a couple hours a day and just get a performance-based pay, I'll make more, I'll work less. And it's like such a valuable skill set. And like, even with me, like something that I always wanted to do, like I love challenging myself, right? I really wanted to just like step outside of my comfort zone and just, learn how to talk to people, learn how to be super, super confident. And, just with that, it's kind of tapped into, and it's kind of bled through a bunch of different skill sets, like, creating content on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, sharing my story and stuff like that. And, I used to be somebody that didn't think that I was going to be on camera. Now I'm on camera. And honestly, I could credit the skills training and just being confident around sales, being confident talking on camera. And I'm sure that you guys know how hard it is to kind of build that confidence up. Like, you guys didn't start as like some crazy ass guys that just knew what they were talking about or no frameworks. I just kind of like, you know, it's bled through a lot of my different skill sets, and I'm glad that I did it. But yeah, Hamilton Spectator is a awesome.
It started.
Yeah.
You know, I was talking about this on the boot camp the other day, the training that we do, and you know, I was talking about how like people who get into sales, like when that's one of your first jobs, especially, like you have to have like something is like cracked in your mind. Like you have to be like a little bit like fucked up. You know what I mean?
Like in what way?
Like you have to like. The fact that, you know, you're willing to go through all the rejection, talk to strangers every single day, right? Ask them for money, like that takes a lot of balls, you know? And like, it's probably one of the harder things that you can do, especially you did that at how old?
I did this at like, I think I was like 19, 18.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, and I thought it was like such a cool opportunity. And
Did you get like, broken up with or something? And you're like,
That's what I'm saying.
Oh my God, dude.
What was the
there
pain
has
point?
to be there has
What
to
was
be
the pain
catalysts for
point?
everybody where it's like something happens and you're like, fuck everything, I'm just gonna eat shit. So what happened?
Exactly that. There was just like, I mean, like, I'm sure that everybody goes through like, you know, their heartbreak or whatever it is. Like, everybody does, and that's actually what fuels them.
Yep.
And I love that fuel. I love putting myself in positions of like, just like uncertainty, pain, and going through that suffering. Because like, if you guys study like universal laws, like the universal law of the transmutation of negative to positive energy, it's just like people don't understand that anxiety, that fear, it's a superhuman.
Hang on. Take one step back. What did you just say?
Yeah, you just spent that universal law.
The universal law of like the law of transmutation of energy.
Okay.
From turning a insecurity into like some sort of power, like your anxiety, your fears, like depression, whatever that is, into like a superpower. And a lot of people, you know, they don't tap into that. And for me, that was through like heartbreak. It was through losing basketball games or football games. And I'd always just want to find, you know, you kind of come up with this delusional obsession that you want to be the best, you know? And like, for me, I wanted to be the best in all categories in life, whether that be through me making money, whether that be through me becoming a creator, whether that be me through sports, or just trying to get back at some girl that just dumped me. Like, I wanted to be the best. I wanted to just grind, and just like having that delusional confidence of just saying that you're the best, and like finding that key sector of like how to transmute that pain into productivity.
Yeah.
It's just like, it pushes you so much far. And John Jones talks about this a lot. Like, John Jones talked about how, you know, he would watch all these TED Talks and read all these different books about like how to become obsessive, and how to, you know, tap into that frequency where it's just like, okay, yeah, you are anxious, you are paranoid, but guess what? If you tap into and you dig a little bit deeper and you start understanding your why a little bit more, start rewiring the things that are in your subconscious brain, like, you can tap into this frequency where you were once a CEO.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When you were once a boss. I talk to this about with my students all the time. Like, it's like a lot of people, they forget how like powerful they actually are and how powerful their mind is.
Yeah.
And the way that I like to think of it is just like, okay, if you were to pair, you know, fear and anxiety, obviously it's a very low vibrational frequency. Everybody doesn't like being in that position. But when you pair fear and anxiety with a deadline, dude, you're fucking a beast. You know what I mean? You can turn into anybody. And the way that I like to picture it, and the way that I explain it to my students, is, remember when your teachers back in high school, back in college, would say, all right, so here's an assignment. It's going to be due in 2 weeks, 3 weeks. It's going to be due at 11:59 p.m. What does our hard-headed ass dumbasses do? We wait up until 8 hours before the assignment is due. Now, 8 hours before that assignment's due, there's all this fear, anxiety, this paranoia. And there's also that deadline. And you didn't do anything the weeks before. But then when you start when you start digging things in, or like when you start kicking in, be like, oh, like there's this deadline that's going to happen. Fear settles in, anxiety settles in, and you go through the textbook, you go through the motions, you start learning about what you have to write, whether that be a 2,000 word essay, a 5,000 word essay, and you tap into a frequency for the next 8 hours to hand it in. And maybe you hand it in at 11:58, maybe you hand it in at 12:02, where you want to make up some bullshit excuse saying my internet shut down or something like that. But the point is that you handed it in, and if you're able to tap into that frequency, tap into that power, dude, you can achieve fucking anything.
Yeah, it
right?
forces action
like,
out of you.
It forces action. So it's like, I say, like, you know, the formula is like fear and anxiety plus a deadline, a target, can bring out the best out of like people.
See, it's so crazy that you're bringing that up, because that's the exact sort of frame that we have when we're approaching sales calls. And we train our students on this as well.
Like, you need to evoke that fear. You need to evoke that pain out of your prospect. You need to get them to, take ownership over why they're in the situation that they're in. And then when we bridge that gap to, their vision, their desired outcome, and hey, what is it that you're working towards? Like, when do you actually want to get there by? That's where the action comes at the end of the call.
Yeah, a lot of great companies, they study vibrational frequencies as well to get the most money out of people. Like, I can go so in deep into this, but think about this, like, biggest matrix companies, I'm just gonna say, like, insurance, biggest fraudsters in the fucking world. Dude, do you not realize how, like, they pitch their services to people? Like, what if you're not covered? Fear, boom, paying that monthly insurance for life, their car, anything. What if you're not covered? Dude, they're rinsing thousands, millions of people every single month. It's crazy.
The consequences of inaction, right? And that's everything you were just mentioning earlier, right? Like using all of that stuff, using that as power, right? Me and Tapa were talking about that yesterday. How it's like, you kind of have to the tough thing with every level. And like I noticed this even like with a lot of our sales guys. Like when they're making a jump, like when they hit their first 10K month, and like they're excited about it, they're juiced up about it, but it's like, okay, cool, how do we now like double it to 20? It's like you gotta step into that next version of yourself, and you have to step into that version of yourself that's capable of producing that result before you produce that result to produce that result.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? You want to talk a little bit about that?
You almost need to be delusional that you're already there and carry yourself as you're already there. And I think that comes a lot from, like your subconscious mind and how your subconscious mind comes from how you were raised, what you've experienced in your first 10, 20 years of your life. But as soon as you start questioning things, you'll be able to rewire your brain and push those limiting beliefs higher and achieve more things. And a lot of that comes from, I call it delusion. I call it delusion because when you question things and when you believe that you can achieve more, you're almost delusional because you're still at the same place. But over time, you're going to put in the inputs every single day in order to become a better person. And progress doesn't come like daily, like you won't see much change every single day, but you will see change quarterly. So I love to measure things quarterly. Look at the last 3 months, like how much have you grown? Look at the last year, how much you've grown. Most people look at it daily, like they want to get rich right now, but they're not willing to build a habit of putting in the work every single day and then measuring themselves over the last 3 months and really reflecting.
Because people can't stay consistent for 3 months, for 90 days.
Yeah, it's because one of the hardest things about entrepreneurship, about life, is doing things every day and not seeing the result. It's one of the hardest things. I think everybody faces it because like some days we're grinding 12, 14, 16-hour days on caffeine, just go. And we're like, fuck, like nothing happened today. But a couple months of that, there's going to be insane things that are happening, insane growth that happens.
So like for you guys, because I think there's a lot of people who talk a big game, but we all know like what you guys have accomplished and the kind of numbers that you guys have done. Like there's a lot of people who talk, and there's people who can actually back it up, and you guys have done serious things that nobody can touch when it comes to business success, content online. For you guys, like, what was it like? Because you guys started like 2020?
2020, yeah.
Kind of walk us through that, bro. Like for people who are like, just kind of starting out on their journey, getting into business, whatever. Like, how do you go from like just getting into the game, seeing some type of result, to actually being able to 10x that result and get to a level where you can accomplish like massive lifestyle shifts? And
so we kind of came up together. We did our own thing, and then we met each other at a college party, funny enough.
Okay. Nice.
And then like literally a couple months later, you moved into my college house.
Yeah.
How did that happen? McMaster in Niagara, right?
Yeah. So I went to college in Niagara for nursing. Before I went to nursing school, I met him a week before. And what was crazy was that I had like this intense schedule that I created for myself. And when I met up with him, I was like, We were talking about ecom, talking about the game. We haven't really succeeded in it at all.
This
But
was
we just talked about it. This was
January,
December.
December?
This is a week before.
Yeah, I was drinking a lot back then, guys.
And basically, I was like, yeah, like, we're going to do this. We're going to do that. We're going to build a store. And then I started talking about, like, habits. And then we started talking about routines. And I was saying, like, dude, like, I got my shit locked in. I'm going to be waking up at 4:15 in the morning. This motherfucker goes, dude, I'm waking up at 4:15 in the morning. I'm like, oh, interesting. Gym in the morning? Yeah, me too. All right, cool. And then I went to school, right? That's what happened. He stayed at McMaster. I went to Niagara College. Now, when I got to school, 3 weeks in, I was like, fuck, I can't do this. Like 3 weeks in, I already knew that I was going to drop out. The question became, what would be my way out? Like, I can't just talk to my parents and say I'm going to drop out. There has to be a reason.
And a result.
And the universe or God or whoever you guys like pray to or talk to, whatever it might be, of higher power, you know, you kind of look at the world and you see kind of signs and stuff like that. And the sign for me was like COVID happened.
Yeah.
So one, I didn't feel like going to nursing school. I already felt like dropping out. Two, COVID happened and school was shutting down. I was going to get sent back home. Right? Three, this motherfucker texted me being like, yo, I just made fucking 40K in a month. And I was like,
with econ?
That's like, yeah, with econ.
It was like 2 weeks, but month's good too.
Yeah. But anyways, those three signs came to me and I was just like, fuck it, I'm dropping out. I have to. Right?
Wait, so you did this before seeing any sort of result, any sort of like true promise?
Yeah, he's
like,
crazy.
Yeah, I just full sent it, you know what I mean?
Nice.
Like those
That's
were the
what it
three
takes,
signs
though.
that I went off of. And like, you know, like whenever you're getting into some sort of career, you know, I always like to ask as many questions as possible. Like I'm not closed-minded, I'm very open-minded. I like to look at every single possibility. So the way that I thought of it was like, okay, I'm gonna go talk to all the people inside of these nursing hospitals and see how they like their careers. Even the ones that are 40, 50, 60 years old that have been in their careers for years. What do they say? Did they have any dreams or ambitions before they got into that career? And what happened? What is their lifestyle like now? And I started reading into their lifestyle, how like they're miserable, that they wish they did more. And me being in nursing school, I'm like, dude, like I'm literally watering the seed right now that I don't want to water. I have to go somewhere else. So those three signs came up. I dropped out, got mentored by him. 3 months later, I made 27K in a month. And I was like, that's it. Like, I'm done. And then I moved in. I really wanted to move out of my parents' house. It was funny. They were just giving me so much shit because I dropped out. And because they gave me shit, like, you know, it's hard to kind of just work in an environment where like all this negative projections are coming onto you and it's changing your thought processes and your beliefs, and it's kind of altering your I guess mental capacity on like, or like just your way of thinking. So I one day I literally just took the car and I just started packing the car, and my parents were just like, where are you going? I'm just like, I'm moving out. They're like, what? I'm like, I'm moving out. He's like, really? I'm like, yep. When are you coming back? I'm not coming back. And then I took the room upstairs and we just started grinding and stuff like that. Made a shit ton of money. And then one day, this was like the most interesting part. But I think it was like 3 months. It was like September or something like that in 2020. He actually went to go meet up with Luke Belmar.
No way.
He got into a mastermind or something like that.
Capital Club?
Something
It was
like
called
that.
Ecom Society back then. Shout out Ecom Society.
So he got into something called Ecom Society, and I'm sitting there and I'm doing my business and stuff like that, right? I'm fucking living because I made like 27K, whatever.
And like
I'm
you're
trying to figure out what
19,
I'm trying to figure out what the next step is. And keep in mind, this is all when COVID was going down. He ended up flying back, right? And like I knew I wanted to do some really, really cool shit, but he flew back, and in the morning of, I knock on his door. He opens the door, and I'm like, what's good? How was it? He's like, it was good. It was good. And then we're sitting down and I'm just standing there and I'm just like, so how does it feel to be dropped out? And he's like, what'd you say?
I was just like, how did you know?
How did you
Like,
know?
how
Like
did
I
you
pretty
know?
much just guessed that he dropped out because he was
Yeah.
still in school at the time. But I was like, how does it feel to be
Yeah.
dropped out?
That kind of transitions to, you know, what I experienced at that event. When you put yourself in an environment with people that are already ahead of the game and people that are already where you're at, and you kind of see like who they are. Number one, like a lot of people are stupid as fuck. Like that's just the reality of it. They just grind it and put in the reps. So I go there, like there's a lot of people smarter than me. There's a lot of people dumber than me, all making way more money than I am. So I'm like, okay, why am I at school? Like I can obviously do this. Like I'm in the range of people that are absolutely killing the game. And that environment really kind of set the tone for what I wanted to do for the next few years, because it kind of showed me that it was possible. And it shows you like how far you can actually take it. Funny enough, a lot of people I met at that event, I'm not going to name names. I mean, Luke's one of them. They're all superstars. Like a bunch of them are superstars, absolutely crushing it. And it's not about how smart you are. It's about how long you've been working on your craft and your skill set. How many inputs have you made, right? Mm-hmm. And most of those people, like, they don't just care about making money, but they also care about taking care of their health, because their health allows them to operate at maximum capacity. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of them got ripped. They were fat, they got ripped. A lot of them went from a couple mil a year to 100+ million a year. It's insane, like what can happen when you multiply the inputs that you made over years. It's like an exponential curve. Yeah. Like you'll just be up there.
So that was a catalyst for you.
That was one of the catalysts. I had a couple. Obviously, before I went to that event, I already made a good sum of money. I made a couple $100,000 in just over a month, which was sick. But I also had a lot of jobs lined up. I was actually in training to be a sales engineer at IBM. Yeah, bro. I know. It's
after
crazy.
Making a couple hundred G's.
Yeah. So I had an internship lined up, and I learned a lot about sales there. I was doing data science internship as well at one of the big banks in Canada as well. Did a bunch of random crappy jobs as well. Mm-hmm. Really shit jobs, minimum wage jobs, decent jobs.
Well, hold up, bro. Like that's not making sense to me. So you're telling me you made a couple hundred G's, but you still went into the corporate world.
Here's the thing. Exam season hit. Met this guy. Exam season hit. Made a bunch of money. Told him. Then as I was making the money, my internship started because I've already landed the job 6 months prior. And I'm like, let me try this out. I'm going to see how it goes. This is my dream job. And so I did it, and I'm like, fuck this. Like, this sucks.
It's funny. I saw a meme today. It was like, oh, it's finally 5 p.m. Only 45 years left to go.
Yeah.
But like, let me ask you, bro, because I like a lot of the masterminds and the events that I've been to, like I kind of have like a similar thought, right? Where it's always big respect and admiration to people who are playing the game at a 2-3 levels ahead of you. But I've always felt that too, where it's like, you see these guys and you realize like, until you get in the room, I feel like for me, like I used to, especially when I was just starting out, I would put like success on a pedestal, right? Where I would think that people who are, doing certain things, like they're just better than me in some way. And like, that's just not for me. And then when you get into the room, like you realize that people are human. What I wanted to ask you, bro, like, especially like, being in that type of a room and seeing people 4 years ago and seeing them come up, like, what do you think separates those guys, who win at a higher level from, the average person who shows up to an event like that?
Yeah, I kind of mentioned it, but really, like, I follow everybody, like, or most of them on social media. Like, I've seen what they've been up to. Even though if they go ghost mode and then post every once in a while, whatever, follow them on Twitter, and I've been keeping up with them. I think it's important to look at all your competition and all your friends on social media just to keep up to date and see what they're implementing that you're not implementing. But the ones that are very successful, at least money, I don't know about like their family and stuff like that, is the ones that just constantly put in the work and fail as much as they possibly can, because not a lot of people talk about their failures on social media. But when I meet up with them, either FaceTime or just like meet up with them in a random country, because like, I haven't seen you in a couple of years, bro, like they went through horror stories in business, and they've had like shit hit the fan hard. Not a lot of people talk about that. but then they rise out of that like a fucking phoenix.
Do you think it's more being willing to fail, or do you think it's more like going after something big enough and then failing as a byproduct of that?
I think it's willing to take the risk. It's always willing to take a risk, because if you want to maximize your income, if you want to maximize the growth of your business, you have to be willing to take huge calculated risks in order to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, calculated risks are dependent on how much experience you have, because it will allow you to, it gives you the judgment to make those decisions, to make those highly calculated decisions. So as a beginner, like, you shouldn't just drop your whole bag in this meme coin, right? You should have some experience, with hundreds of trades before actually putting your whole bag here, or part of your bag here. That's kind of an example of business, like when you're running ads or like when you're basically taking the next step in your business, you have to make sure that you have a calculated decision.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that applies to life too. Like Rome, like I've learned that from you, bro. Like in all aspects, where like, you have to be willing to just like put yourself out there and like go for certain shit, and live the type of lifestyle that you want to live. And just claim it, you know what I mean? Like just go for it, like before it even happens, And it's like even like when we were talking last night about that, right? Like the guys like Luke Belmar, and just other people in general, right? Like they're crushing it, they're doing their thing, but I think it's the fact that they have the audacity to put themselves out there and to hop on freaking every podcast that exists and say like, hey, like what I have to say has value and I can help people with it. And then they just go all in on that. And I think there's a lot of talented people out there who have the value to give, but they don't have the audacity to give it.
Yeah.
Right.
It comes back to delusion, because some people are delusional enough where they just will say what they have on their mind, and opinions change, but opinions are very polarizing most of the time. Sometimes you believe in something and you just say it with your chest. And a lot of times that leads to a lot of reach, especially on social media, and a lot of community building, because look at America, left side, right side. It's pretty much split down the middle. Yeah. So you have to be very polarizing in order to build a large following. You can't just kind of like be in the middle, like trekking along, because what do you believe? Like, people want to believe in somebody that's very polarizing.
If you believe in everything, you stand for nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, for real. And like even with sales, it all comes back to that too, where like you have to be willing to, even on a sales call, you have to be willing to piss someone off. You have to be willing to get under someone's skin. And sometimes, like, that's the best way to build trust with someone.
Yeah.
Is be like, hey, bro, like you mentioned, you've been looking into this for about 6 months. I just don't get it. Why has nothing changed?
Yeah.
Where like you have to be willing to make someone uncomfortable, and I think that's where you can build real trust and real connection, right?
And truth be told, like that's how you help other people succeed. You break down the beliefs they have that are holding them back and keeping them in their situation, and help them replace that with empowering beliefs that help them adopt that delusional mindset that we've been talking about.
Because bro, usually that's what it is. Usually it's a belief that's really holding you back, where like maybe you might say like, oh, like I just can't figure it out. I'm just not smart enough. I'm just not good enough. Like it's just, all these other things that are outside of my control, right? I saw you put that on your story today, right? The accountability thing.
Yeah.
I love that.
Ego's the enemy, yeah.
The thing is, it's the belief, right? That really holds people back. But then when the only way to break that belief, like, is to really piss someone off.
Yeah.
Like it's to catch a reaction from somebody.
Funny enough, I know Adrian does this as well. One of the first calls that we have, because obviously we do mentorships as well, along with like our businesses. One of the first calls, it's to break their ego. And the reason why is because we need to, number one, demand respect, right? Respect that what we say goes, because we know more than what you know. And if you pay for something, pay for a professor or a teacher to teach you something, you're going to have to do it their way, because they're better than you at it. That's what you're here for. We have to break their ego in also a way where you should understand what trials and tribulations that they went through in business, and show them that it's all their fault why they failed.
How do you go about doing that?
You ask them, what kind of failures have you experienced in business? Tell me about it. Okay, why do you think you failed? And then you slowly get to the point of, it's all your fault.
Mm-hmm. I love that you do that, because that's the exact sort of approach you got to take in sales.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's like, it's more so because I actually care about these people. Like if they're paying money, I know. But
It's more so because I care about people.
If they're paying money, like for education, education is just information. All the information's kind of out there. Most people have an issue retraining themselves and unlearning things that other people have told them. Again, back to subconscious mind, you have the conscious mind, the analytical mind, the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind basically controls your whole life because it's the decisions that are made without you even knowing their decisions. Ego's a part of that. A lot of people have egos. They're like, oh, dropshipping didn't work because it's not 2017. Motherfucker, I still dropship and it works. What's your excuse?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's really the first step to it, right? Is just extreme accountability and taking ownership of exactly where the fuck you are.
Yeah.
Because that's the only way you get control from it, right? Okay.
But from there, like drop shipping, because like that's more so like, you know, you were talking about sales, getting into sales. I'm sure you probably had some sales experience. You're talking about like the analytics, data analytics you did. Like when did you kind of find marketing and find e-com, and why did you guys choose that path?
So marketing is sort of like the pre-frame. It's like you get the lead, but marketing sends them the messaging. And so before the lead comes on the call, it's really important that they know why they're there. And so marketing is like kind of like feeds the sales team. It's very important for us to make sure we're putting out the right messaging, because the most important thing when it comes to drop shipping, high ticket sales, is making sure that the leads come with intent. They have intent to learn, intent to change their lives, right? And most of them do. Like as long as you have right messaging on the front end, you're gonna get good leads. But you still have to put in a lot of work. Obviously, it's not like these leads are gonna be just like, yo,
ready to swipe
here's
their card.
my credit card.
Yeah.
Go crazy. You know, I'll pay for whatever. Marketing is a very important part of that, and it's really all about intent and making sure that the right messaging goes out so that you're like a magnet and the right leads come in. How's it going, Rome?
Amazing, bro. This is very like, I grew up in a different time, bro. Like I'm 31 years old. We have like a 8-year gap difference, bro. When I can relate to you a lot. I grew up absent father, super insecure. I was like the first grandchild. I had nobody to look up to, bro. And nobody around me ever did like e-com. You know, it was like, for me, it was just like, you know, my dad was an engineer and I thought that's all I could ever be. And once I graduated with a Bachelor of Network Engineering, and I worked at IBM. I was actually a network engineer at
That's
IBM.
crazy. I probably seen you.
Maybe. And all my life, bro, I thought that this was it for me. It wasn't possible for me to do anything else. I never had the delusional self-belief that I could become anything. Never had an ego, bro. I had never like thought I could do anything. And it was only until like I was at a point where I'm like, I couldn't get any girls, bro. I didn't have any friends. I would dread walking into a fucking elevator, bro. You know,
Completely opposite of what you are right now.
Yes.
100%, bro. But I'm like, it was at a point where like I was at the lowest of the low. I'm like, I don't know what to do. And then one day somebody just, I don't know, I came across, we were talking about subconscious mind. I came across Dr. Joe Dispenza.
Yes, bro. That's exactly who I was referring to.
Yeah. And it was like, it was saying about like how you don't need to go and work and get what you want. It can come to you. I'm like, what the fuck? What do you mean? I'm like, whatever, sign me the fuck up. I mean, I already look at myself in the mirror and I don't respect myself. At a point, I'm like, why don't you even continue living?
Yeah.
And then one day I'm like, sure, whatever, let's fucking try this Dr. Joe Dispenza stuff.
Did you read his book?
I read his book, Supernatural.
Nice, me too.
And I got his courses.
Yeah.
And I started writing, okay, what do I want to be? How would I feel when I get there? And every day I would sit down, just meditate this life that I wanted. And I'd wake up every morning and start meditating. And this person I want to be. I want to live in this penthouse. I want like everybody like me. I want to be like super confident. And then one thing led to another, and then I saw that sales is probably the thing that I need to do. That what scared me the most, and that's why I went into sales.
Did you see an ad? How did you get into sales?
That's a good story.
It is.
Did you get scammed? Did someone scam you?
What story?
Well, you were on a call with so Rome. We started working with Dylan in 2019.
Yeah.
Doing sales, and Rome had a business partner, Daniel G. Right. So we had 2 sales offices, one in Mississauga and one in Markham.
The one that you guys have been to.
Me and Amon were in the Markham office, hustling, all through COVID. Everything was shut down. We're doing our thing over there. Meanwhile, like we're starting our journey over there. Rome's starting his journey in Mississauga, right? And then eventually, now we're business partners and we work together, right? But how did you start, bro?
Well, first of all, the moment that I knew that there was more to life was when I was at IBM. I had this coworker that had an Airbnb. He's like renting an apartment, putting on Airbnb. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, he's like, yeah, I don't own the apartment. I don't own the property. I'm making an extra 5 G's a month. I'm like, what the fuck is that possible? He's like, yeah. I'm like, okay. Next day, I just go home, take pictures of my own condo, and then next day, some guy from Switzerland books it for an entire month, and I made $3,500. I'm like,
What did you say?
Oh, my cousin's house. I went to my cousin's house, sit on his couch. And that's the moment that I'm like, wow,
Give me my money.
More to life. So 6 months later, I had 9 Airbnbs. 9 Airbnbs, working at IBM. I'm like, yeah, I'm making $23,000 a month. I was 23 years old. And I quit. But I didn't know business. It was just luck, bro. I'm like, fuck, this is
It wasn't
easy.
luck. It wasn't luck. It was the law of attraction.
It could be. It could be. I was doing my meditations, and that's what fucking happened, bro.
I could imagine you sitting there. Give me some money.
Anyways, laws and regulations started to be like more strict in Ontario, and I started getting kicked out of one apartment after one apartment. I'm like, what the fuck do I do now? And one of my friends forwarded me a story of Daniel G. Daniel G was looking for sales jobs, and my boy was like, bro, you need to do this. This is what you need right now in your life. I'm like, no, I can't talk to people. He's like, that's exactly why you need to do this. So I'm like, fuck it. I paid Daniel G $500 to coach me, bro.
That's so cheap, bro.
$500.
It should have been like 5K, 10K, bro.
This was like what, 5 years, 6 years ago?
True.
6 years ago, bro. Yeah. Anyways, got coached by Daniel G. Was the most difficult time of my life, bro. I trained sales. Then I started calling. Do you know Scope Leads, bro?
No. Oh yeah. The software, like they give you data, right?
Exactly.
Excel sheets.
Exactly. Yeah. So it was Corona time. And then Daniel G was smart. He's like, okay, so this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna sell gym owners and personal trainers on how to get online.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, where are the leads? He's like, well, you're gonna have to go find your own leads. Like, what do you mean? It's like, yeah, go fucking figure it out.
It's crazy, bro, because if they whipped up an offer, if they got someone on some creatives, whipped up a VSL,
yeah,
put some paid behind that, and prime COVID.
What a printed, bro. What a printed. Holy shit.
Look at that shit.
Shout out Yangu.
For real.
Anyways, I did it, bro. I'm like, fuck it, whatever. I got nothing to lose, bro. I'm like, I've never in my life put my all into something, bro. All my life I was called a fucking loser by my teachers. By my friends, that I couldn't do anything. I'm like, you know what? Let me put my all into something, and I did it. 2 months go by, bro, not a single fucking sale. But I was just hustling it out. And then one day, again, I'm still doing my meditations every day, bro. I'm sitting down, I'm a fucking idiot, bro, just like imagining me being successful, being with hot girls and all that stuff. One day, so fucking random, Dylan calls me. I've never talked to Dylan in my life, bro. Dylan calls me, like, hey, yo, I hear you've been trying to close. You've been closing with Daniel G. He says you've been doing, you putting in the work. I'm like, okay, yeah. He's like, I have an opportunity for you. I'm like, okay. He's like, you're gonna be selling for Ty Lopez. I'm like, Ty Lopez? Like, yeah. Like, do you know the 10-step framework? I'm like, yeah, 100%. Yeah. Whatever he said, I'm like, yes, I do know. I'm like, fuck, this is an opportunity. I'm gonna say yes. Yes, man. Bro, The next day, I hop on calls with Ty Lopez. I'm getting leads this time. I close out the first lead I talked to for $1,000. That same day, I closed like 5 deals, made $500. That month, I made $4,500. Second month, I made 16 grand. Third month, I made about 21 grand. And my life fucking changed from then, bro. And then that's when I went to the Mississauga office. I left Ottawa, went to Toronto.
But we would see stories. We'd be in the other office, or I would hear rumors about Rome. I would hear rumors about this guy, like, oh, this guy Rome, he's a top closer. I would see him. I remember I saw a story, which I've screenshot, which I've shown you, where it's like, Daniel put up on a story of Rome on the whiteboard.
Where he's wearing like a jean jacket with the fur?
He's reaching up.
That,
he's reaching up nice and high to the top of the board, writing down his fucking sale. And then it's like Rome works 14 hours a day. He does 100 dials a day. He closes X amount daily. People ask me what it takes to work for me. Be like Rome, some shit like that, exactly. And then I remember, bro, we would see, be like, who the fuck is this guy? Me and Amon were like fresh out of dropping out of school, and like we're doing good, we're doing solid, but now it was good that you started working with us, and we started linking up. That was good.
It was something that you mentioned, bro, like doing the fucking work and not seeing results, but keep on doing it.
It's the hardest thing in the world.
2 months, bro, of waking up, sweating my fucking robe, bro. My mom called me an idiot, bro.
I will talk about that.
My friends call me fucking stupid. What are you doing? The sales thing, bro. You're not making any money. You're fucking, what are you doing, bro? And I'm like, fuck all that shit. I've never give anything more to anything, bro. I'm going to do it anyway. And one day, bro, I get a call just because I showed up every single day. And then I was like, he's an opportunity. And fuck it, it was a preparation, this opportunity, bro. It was a prime fucking example. Yeah. And everything changed since then, bro.
To the friends that said like you're a fucking idiot and all this stuff now, when they look at you now, has the vibe been different? Like, have they been reaching out saying like, oh, like, have they used you as a guinea pig or anything like that? Try to guinea pig off of your success and your skill set?
Bro, at that point when I decided to change my life, I changed everything. My identity, my name. I changed everything about me, bro. I changed my name.
Yo, I changed type shit.
I changed my name. I changed my fucking Instagram. So all these old motherfuckers probably don't even know. Some of them started following the past few years, slowly following me, bro.
Huh?
Not the
I left all that life behind, bro. I started a new Instagram, new life, new fucking.
You and your family too? Fuck.
My family, no, God bless, bro. My family's supportive now.
Nice.
But they were even my brothers, my family, everybody was against me.
That's how it always is.
Yeah. But
back to that delusion, right?
100%. I had nothing to lose, bro. I'd rather be fucking broke, bro. I'd rather be fucking dead than to continue on living that life that I used to live, bro.
Death before dishonor.
Mon, you were saying something about you disagreeing with me or something?
Yeah, I disagree. Like, so many people are like, oh, committing to the inputs without seeing the results is hard. And like, I get that to a certain extent, but I completely disagree, because if you look at it from a completely different perspective where you gamify the inputs, it's just like, it really is just like a video game. You don't start out being completely maxed out on your stats. You gotta put in the inputs, you gotta do the missions to do the level ups and get better. So when you're talking about inputs, whether it's content, sales calls, the ads, the creatives that you guys are putting out, you gotta just see it as, okay, well, every ad, every rep that I do is just making me better. And maybe I won't see the dividends now, but you really feel it. At the end of the day, you do 100 sales calls a week. Like, the next week, you'll be a lot more confident when, someone hits you with an objection or someone hits you with some BS. And when you look at it from that gamified perspective, I guess what I'm really trying to say is journey over destination.
I think I was I have my Kindle with me, and I didn't download any books on it. So I used this Kindle the last time probably 5 years ago, and the only
book.
And
you told me you read the other day.
And
bullshit.
Bullshit.
What'd you read?
Wait, what'd you say?
No, I said you told me you read the other day.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying, right? So this Kindle I brought with me on the trip, I haven't used this in fucking 5 years, right? So I loaded up. Think and Grow Rich was probably the first
That's what you read.
Yes, was probably the first book that I read, right? When I made the transition in my own life, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, let me bust this thing open. This morning I was reading it. I'm on chapter 2, and he's talking about No, he's talking about desire, right? About like the things that you want, right? And you know, he wrote that book at the end of the Great Depression. I'm pretty sure, right? It was right at the end when everyone lost all their fucking money. This is in like the 1930s, right?
Yeah.
And one of the things that he mentioned, right? Like when it comes to the inputs and everything, he was talking about you need to have two things, right? One is a desire to accomplish something, right? A deep desire to win and get whatever it is that you want. And then two is faith, right? Faith that you can accomplish that, right? Before you see any result. And then something that he mentioned is like, you know, when you combine those two things, what it is it's definiteness of purpose, right? Where you make it your life's goal, right? Like Rome, like what you were talking about, right? Where like you weren't going to accept, you know, being who you were and settling for that type of lifestyle, and you had a purpose. You were like, yo, I'm gonna win. Like I'm gonna turn into a certain version of myself. I'm gonna level up. I'm gonna upgrade, right? And then I think if you have the definiteness of purpose, where like you know exactly where the fuck you're trying to go, you know why you're here, you know what you're trying to accomplish, then like the inputs before you see the results, like that's just a part of the process. Like you're not even tripping about the results because you know where you're going.
To be honest though, I feel like, at least I'll speak for myself, like I don't know if it was like, you know, being so certain about like my purpose, but I knew I was certain on like what I didn't want to do. Like, and at least I was in business school for accounting and finance. Like I was certain that I didn't want to succumb to that status quo of being an accountant, being some boring motherfucker trapped up in a cubicle. Just like what Adrian was saying, like he was looking at what people would say in the nursing field about their profession, about their life. And it's like, when they tell you they're miserable, it's like, well, why am I watering a seed that's gonna grow into
Exactly
me
that.
being miserable?
Some bullshit.
Straight up. And it's like, I knew for a fact that's not what I wanted to do. So like that's why I just committed all in when, you know, I heard I could make $500 in 30 minutes.
Let me for you guys, like, did you have some shit like that, like early on in the come up, right? Like before you saw the results, did you have like something inside you where you were like, yo, like I don't know what I'm gonna do, but like I know I'm gonna win big. Anything like that?
Yeah. I always believed that I was like meant for way more than what path was projected onto me. I just knew that it was possible. You know, like you gotta.
Oh my God! What? We got a bird joining the podcast.
It's just like when you're.
What's your purpose?
Fucking, what is that? I don't even know. But I just knew it was possible. You know, you're sitting there, you're going through, you know, the part-time, the 9-to-5 job, and I was sitting there, you know, studying nursing, and then at nighttime before I go to bed, you know, 2 a.m, like 9:30, sorry, 10 o'clock, whatever it is, I'll be staying up watching YouTubers that are already having this success, and I just watch them. I'd be like, oh my God, like it's possible. You know what I mean? Anyways, I just knew that it was possible. And the question always just became like, you know, what do they know that I don't? And that got me curious. And it got me curious as to, okay, how do I craft this path for myself? You know what I mean? Like the path is already created for nurses, you know, like they literally tell you. Maybe you guys remember this this platform called like, I don't know, it was a platform where you log in. It was like grade 10, grade 11. And like, based off of the grades that you input into the system, it gives you all these recommended and suggested programs that you can
careers and whatever that class was.
I had masseuse, magician, bro. I had masseuse, magician, and fucking like a flight attendant. And I was like, I don't want to do any of that shit. Like, bro, why would I do that?
What grades did you put in?
What grades did I put in? Dude, I was like a CD student. I was horrible.
You fucking dumb.
Like I knew. Okay, so here's the thing. I knew I wanted to help people, right? And I also loved like athletics as well. Like I was a big athlete back in high school. Loved playing football, basketball, volleyball, track and field. Did everything, right? But I was also a CD level student, so I plugged that into the system, and they just gave me all these different suggestions on like what jobs and careers I wanted. But like fucking magician, fucking flight attendant, masseuse, like it just didn't match me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What I wanted to do, I just like, again, I was obsessed about like, I was watching Iman Gadji back in 2017 when he was 17, 18, saying he was making 100K like in a month or 100K in a year or something like that. Right. And I was like, I want to do that. I want to do that. But I don't know. Sometimes life gets in the way, different things happen, you know, heartbreaks happen, different events happen and occur in life. Stress starts to pile on, and then all this pressure on like, okay, should you go to school or should you go there? It starts to kind of get onto you. But I just knew it was possible. It's out there. The information's out there.
But
You just
like,
gotta learn to tap
most
into it.
most people know that it's possible, right? But most people don't think they can do it for themselves, right?
I mean, like when I talk to people and that say like, I don't know if it's possible for me. Well, like let's look at what has been possible for you, right? Like any skill set in the world, like if you are a magician or not a magician, like a musician, right? And you learned how to play the piano. Okay, well, like you understand like how important it was to have a mentor or a piano teacher teach you for 30 minutes and how much impact that actually made on your skill set a bit in order to play the piano. Like look where you got in like 3 months, 6 months of just practicing the piano for 30 minutes a day. Like imagine if you came in there with that same, you know, like that same progress in like any skill set that you want to learn, right? Basketball too, or any sports. Like you had coaches. Think about how much a 1 hour practice did to your body, how you became stronger, faster. You start understanding the game a little bit better. You start picking at certain weaknesses in players a little bit better. So then that way you have the advantage. Like these are skill sets that these people have, and they forget that they're so like, they are ambitious. They can do it. Right. So if you just kind of give them that belief, or you kind of just look at that, like I have done things that I wasn't good at before, and frame it in the way that's just like, okay, I'm at the beginning, I'm at the bottom, but like they'll be able to achieve like whatever it is that they want to achieve. So kind of just framing it in that way kind of just like helped me out too. Like, you know, you can do anything you put your mind to. I genuinely believe that. You can force your way to success with an exponential amount of inputs, an exponential, like excessive amount of inputs, excessive amount of practice. One of the things that I did that I forced myself into, right? I was a decent music kid, you know what I mean? Played the piano and stuff like that, could never sing. There was this one girl that I was obsessed with in grade 10, and she used to be a singer, right? My dumbass DM'd her, and I sent her a video of somebody else singing, claiming it was me, right? I'm not even kidding. And this is when she said, like, "Oh my God, like you're so good at singing, we should do a collab." Bro, I shit you not, for 3 months straight, I did nothing but fucking sing. So then that way, when I went to go collab with her, I would sound fucking good. And like I got pipes, dude. I've made music and shit like that. Like he's heard me sing and shit like that.
No way.
Bro, I forced myself into it, so then that way I can have that relationship with that chick. I'm not even kidding. And I went from not being able to sing to being able to sing in like 3-6 months, because I put my mind to it, and I was like, okay, I'm not gonna look like an idiot in front of her, because I fucking want this girl and stuff like that.
Give us something, bro.
Give us something.
Give us a little 1-2.
Use a little 1-2. I can play some shit on
Maybe
my,
like
on my
Chris
phone
Brown,
and
bro,
stuff
whatever.
like that. You know? We're not gonna do that here, though. We're not gonna do that here.
But like it goes to show that like getting good at something is a skill, right?
Yeah.
Like having the skill of getting good at things is a skill. I remember like even that's the cool thing about sales, is like how all of your results are directly in proportion to your skills and your inputs, right?
Yeah.
So it's like you learn how to go after what you want, and you learn how to get good at something. And then like, especially when you start, you know, we were talking about this, we did a pod a couple weeks back talking about like hard work versus talent, how like there's like talented closers, right? Some people just come in and like right away they're putting up numbers. And then, you know, like for me, I can't say that was the case, you know, like I was, you know, putting up a lot of dials, putting up a lot of work, but like Aman would be out closing me, Rome would be out closing me, and like I'd be frustrated, you know. But like the ability to get 1% better at something every single day, you know, and like, and I apply that to something like, you know, even sales I did for a long time, when it comes to like leadership and management, you know, and like dealing with a big team, right? Where, you know, me, Aman, Rome, we were put into a position where we got to deal with, you know, manage a lot of people, right? And sales management is hard, right? And like that's something where, you know, because I learned how to get good at sales, and it took me so many years to really figure out how to build momentum with it. Now I can apply that skill of getting good at things to management, or even to, you know, content. When we started just last year, you know, we started this podcast just a few months ago, you know, and then you almost get to a place where like, I think when you do the first thing, and you prove to yourself, okay, yeah, I can get good at this thing, that's cool. But when you do it a second time with something new, then like you really unlock and you realize that, yo, like I can actually do whatever the fuck I set my mind to.
Yeah.
You know, and like that's when life just turns into a game. Like that's when you realize that the only limits that you put on, or the only limits that you have are the ones that you put on yourself.
Yep.
Right. And yeah, now boys, we just got to figure out how to break those limits and take this bitch to the next level.
Absolutely.
I feel like everybody gets complacent though, especially at certain levels. I mean, like,
It's a good point.
I'm not going to speak for everybody, but I think a lot of people like get to the next level, and then one day they're like, okay, I'm going to get to the next level, but then they let like anxiety or something creep into their life, and then they get complacent and plateau for a little bit, and then you're like, what the fuck am I doing? Trying to get to the next level again. And some people plateau for a year, some people plateau for 2 years, some people plateau for fucking 40, 50 years. And then eventually they realize, they're like, oh my God, I got complacent.
Yeah.
I fucked up. So yeah, go ahead.
You know where I think that comes from though? Comparison. Because when you reach a level of success and then you compare yourself not to people who are above you, but when you compare yourself to people who are below you, you're like, bro,
Yeah.
I'm chilling.
What Hermosi said on a reel, shout out Hermosi, GOAT. I've learned so much from him.
We're about to munch dessert for you tonight.
Yep. What he says, it's not the 5 people you surround yourself with, it's the 5 people you compare yourself to.
Yep.
That's why I'm very grateful you guys, bro. How many times throughout the last 6 years that I got complacent, I got comfortable, and you guys called me out. I wouldn't be who I am today if I wasn't for you guys. You know? So you guys fucking inspire me too, bro. Like I let you guys are young, fucking ambitious, you know, you're going after you shit. Well, that inspires me to be better every single day. And that's why I think it's important to know, you know, like your environment is everything, bro. You know, we lean over each other whenever we need to get lit again.
What's interesting about that, about what you said, is we spend a good amount of money for our lifestyles, a good amount of money for shit that makes no fucking sense. $1,000 on dinner, why? You can just save that money and put it wherever, whatever. But it just sets the bar, and it raises the bar for us to work even harder. And, you know, we also get treated. We treat ourselves. You know, some people say stay at your parents, save up and like buy a car or a mortgage or whatever. That's one of the worst things you could do for yourself, because it allows you to maintain your level of income because your expenses haven't increased. And in order for like you to increase the amount of money you make, and for you to grind harder and like be willing to learn new things, you have to put yourself in a position where you're like lighting a fire under your ass. And that's the case for most people. Some people, like, fine, they can do crypto and make a couple $1 million in their mom's basement, but most people, they need a fire under their ass for them to, you know, build that skill set and make more money for themselves.
And you know, with that, one of you know, you mentioned Dylan. Dylan, you know, was huge. Like the same way how Adrian, like you talked about, you know, meeting Tapa, and you know how that connection, you know, helps you make the jump, you know, go all into the space and etc. You know, for us, it was definitely, or for me, definitely, you know, for Mon and Rome, like it was Dylan, right? Where like he had already, you know, proved the concept, shown what was possible, accomplished a certain level of success, where it's like, you know, for us to go all in on this brand new space, something that we weren't doing, or that we just started with, it was an easy decision. Yeah, so one of the biggest things that I learned from Dylan was, you know, because even we started in 2020, right? Me and Amon were buying BTC, Ethereum, all of that, just throwing all of our checks, you know, from the summer of 2020 into, you know, December, January, February, right, on that first bull run. And so was everybody else in the office.
3, 4, 5K per Bitcoin.
It was like, I think it was like maybe like 8 to 15K. It was at, right? And then it shot up to like fucking 60, 70K in like, I think like March of that year or some shit, whatever, right? It was pumping, right? So all of us were packed out calendars. We're doing $1 million a month for the client at the time. You guys know him, and we're throwing money into crypto, right? And we saw a lot of guys who were doing that, and then the pixels on their phone looked a little bit different. The number was a little bit different now, or it was bigger. and then instantly they just get complacent.
Mhm.
And we saw so many guys who were so, bro, incredibly talented, like guys who were so good, had so much potential. That number gets a little bit bigger, and they get so fucking lazy. And the biggest lesson that I learned from Dylan in that time is like it's not about the money. It's not about making the $1 million. The $1 million means fucking nothing, right? It's the person that you become in the process to make $1 million. That's what's fucking valuable, because you can lose that million tomorrow and you can go and make it back, because you don't lose you, right?
Yep.
As long as you're breathing, you're on this earth, right? And that's why like the fast money and the crypto and all that stuff, like, you know, I do my thing with that, but it's just to the side. It's not in my fucking consciousness, you know. My focus is on the mission every single day, getting better every single day, and then I know, and even with how I compare myself, bro, like I've seen a lot of guys in crypto who are probably worth more money than me, but bro, they're losers, they're bums, I don't envy them in any way, as opposed to to you guys, you guys, Dylan, the people that I met along the way, bro. Like I want to be, someone who's, I think my purpose, bro, is becoming the best version of myself, in all aspects, right, regardless of outcome, and that's what I'm after. Sorry to go on the rant, but like the person that you become on the journey, I think is what it's all about.
That's
And
super
then you give
important.
that man to the world.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then you help people with it, right? You help.
Other people become.
Yeah.
I tell this to a lot of people, and I actually learned this from Luke Dalmar. He said it on a podcast before, but in order to become the best version of yourself, you need 3 people around you at all times at 3 different levels of frequencies. 1, you need a mentor, somebody to look up to. That's like your target. That's like who you want to become. Yes, you envy that person, but however, again, you're trying to chase that person. 2 is a peer, somebody that you can bounce ideas off of with and kind of just see like, okay, challenge each other, right? Friendly competition. And then 3rd is a mentee, somebody that can look up to you, and that person is going to be on your tail and push you to learn more than them. And if they catch up to you, you don't got a mentee.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? I've had situations like that where I've had literally students that I've mentored become better than me because I became complacent and I didn't want to become better. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But however, those 3 trifecta of people, those 3 people, it's a good balance to have. You have somebody that you're chasing, you have somebody that you level out with, and you have somebody that wants to learn from you. It's just going to continue to push you up. And it's also going to, if you teach that to that next person, it's going to push them up, right? But yeah, that's something that I learned along the way, and like it shows true. You know what I mean? Like Phil was my mentor, then we started becoming more peers, started working together, and now we bounce ideas off of each other. People that I look up to are people that are chasing the $1 million months, the $10 million months, the hundreds of millions of dollars and stuff like that. And then of course I have all my students, and my students hold me accountable to be the best version of myself. And if I cheat myself, and even if I try to fabricate it, they won't become better. I have to make it real. I have to make it like legit, right? I would never show like my weakest sides of myself to my students. I would always like show up strong because they're accountable on me, right?
Yeah.
100%.
I think a lot of people have the peer, but they lack, and even a lot of people have the peer. They might have, the person that they look up to as well, but a lot of people don't have someone that they're, mentoring or teaching along the way, right? And I think that's an important one. That's key, but because it's what you just said, right? It's the accountability to get better, right? When you have someone looking up to you, depending on you, now that changes things. When you're depending on other people, you're looking up to other people. It's all selfish, right? You're just thinking about yourself, right? You're trying to win. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's when you have other people looking up to you. Now you're not just doing it for you. You have to do it for other people. And then I think that's a huge motivator, bro. That's crazy that you just said that, those 3 people. Yeah, no, like what was another huge motivator for me is just like, it's not even just like what I want for myself, but obviously I definitely want a family at some point, but who is my kid going to be looking up to? Is he going to be looking up to Spider-Man or Batman, or is he going to be looking up to me? I want that motherfucker to be looking up to me. You know what I mean? Like the coolest feeling in the world was honestly when I started making all this money and word started going around my family, and my aunts and uncles that started getting kids wanted me to be like the godfather of their kid, and then people started looking up to me. My cousins started looking up to me. They started asking me questions. That felt good. It's like they find and they seek comfort through me, and I get to be the person that gets to educate them on how to become a better version for themselves. That felt good. Yeah. So it's just like long term, like,
you know, obviously I want to have a family. Like, again, who's your kid gonna look up to? Is it gonna be some fictional character, or are you gonna be able to tell them like really great stories about how you persevered a shitty business call, or how you persevered a shitty moment in life? You know, how are they gonna learn from you? And like, honestly, like, you know, I have my grandparents, I love them to death, but I can't have a fucking hold a conversation with them from like, I don't find any inspiration from them. The only inspiration that I find out of them is how they found each other, and they're the only two people that like actually like, you know, made a life with each other and stuff like that. But in terms of just like trials and tribulations and any risks that they took, there's not really much. So I didn't really want to be that. I love them to death, but like at the same time, it's like there could have been so much more that you could have done. And because I have my youth, I'm gonna go all in on it. And you know, my grandfather told me, like, listen, like, you're young, you're ambitious. I wish I was your age. And you can't buy back your youth. And if you're a young person and you have these ambitions, you have these goals, you go all in, because there's no amount of money, no $1 million, $10 million, $100 million that will not be able to buy back your youth. It's priceless.
Yeah.
I mean, without did your grandparents immigrate here?
They did.
Without them, you wouldn't have the opportunity.
I wouldn't be here.
A different generation, different time, but like they took a massive risk so that you know you could be in this position.
Of course, you know, the way that I see it too is just like, you know, my dad, he actually used to be super broke. Sometimes this goes way over my head. I'm glad that you reminded me of this, because it gives me a lot of gratitude a lot of the times. But my dad literally came from nothing. Like, I'm talking about like living in the Philippines under a hut, no glass windows or anything like that, showering under like some waterfall and shit like that. Broke, like trading flip-flops for a bag of rice so then his family could eat, walking 5 miles to school barefoot at some points. And for him to immigrate from, you know, the Philippines to Canada and put us under this roof, like literally like pretty decent house, you know, I looked at that and I was just like, damn, like he fucking did that.
Yeah.
I have to take it to the next level.
Yeah.
But I have to know, okay, what information am I learning that will allow me to take it to the next level? Because he has the information that brought him from dirt poor to fucking under this amazing house. You know, providing for my sisters, myself, my mom, everything. How can I do something 10x that, 100x that?
Yeah.
Because I can't do that. If I continue going on the route as he, I might not be making 100K per year till 10 years into the game.
Yeah, and I think the way that you show gratitude is not. A lot of people think it's with your words. Hey, I'm grateful for you, right? All of that. It's with your actions, right? And it's that, you know, like showing gratitude to parents, grandparents, people who came before you, mentors, X, Y, and Z. It's not with your words. It's with your actions, and taking advantage of the things that they've given you and passed on to you. It's real,
without a doubt.
It's quite interesting.
How did you guys get into the coaching space? Like, from all your success with business, from everything that you guys achieved, like what was the flip where you were like, you know what, I want to, as you were saying, Adrian, like the different frequencies, you know what, I want to be that mentor for other people who were you know, maybe in a similar position as me.
Yeah, it didn't happen like, I don't really.
There's two reasons, no? There's the selfish reason and then there's the selfless reason. But they can both be selfish, honestly. It's personal branding. Number one is like one of the greatest things ever, because you're able to network with people that are higher level individuals. And then mentoring, having somebody below you, like Adrian said, is one of the greatest things, because if you have somebody below you, you are going to have to explain concepts to them in a very simple way, and that allows you to process things a lot better. Like, you talking to somebody that's below you, like they don't know a lot. They might not know like certain concepts or terminology. So in order for you to explain things to them, you're going to have to reverse engineer what you know and figure out what the simplest way to do it is. It's like a math equation. In order to solve an equation, you have to learn all the basics. And it helps you relearn the basics in order for you to even use that knowledge and use it for other aspects of your business. So it's like one of the best ways to just like simplify your life and your business by reverse engineering everything that you've learned, and like always trying to understand it a little bit more.
For sure. And if you have something that you can, if you have some information, so something of value that you can share with people, like it's almost selfish too, not to learn how to package that, how to market that, and how to share that. right?
I mean, for me, it was just more so like, I mean, I was on the edge on whether or not I wanted to do like personal branding and all that, but like, you know, getting these results in like e-com and all these different other business models, they kind of just like, these people just kind of fall into your lap after the immense amount of actions that you take. Like, I didn't go out of my own way to reach out to them and be like, hey, I'll mentor you. They just kind of came to me and they're just like, hey, I want to learn from you. So I actually started teaching them for free. Then they started getting results. And I'm like, wait a minute. Why am I not taking like a percentage or something like that? Why am I not making my time like more valuable for me, right? And then I came out with a program. I actually started it in 2022. It's called the Cash Cow Academy. One of the first programs I've ever started. And we were charging a subscription. In that subscription, we were charging like $40 a month or something like that, teaching them about e-commerce, teaching them about TikTok organic and everything like that.
Underpriced, way underpriced.
Super underpriced. And like from that moment, like, you know, I knew that I could help somebody because I already helped somebody for free. Okay, can I get somebody to put in the work and get results after they've paid me for something? And that happened. Teep, 16 years old, made $40K in a month. I was like, I didn't even know that was possible. Then Michael, he made like $80K in a month in like December. And I was like, oh my God, like this kid's also 16, 17. And then he bought a Jeep afterwards. Then Andrew made $100K. Then fucking Devin made $100K. And I was like, what am I on here? Like what, like why are all these people getting these results? You know? And like my course back then was only like 9 videos. Nowadays it's like 40 videos deep. Like I go super in deep. Like a 9 video course was what got them to fucking get results. A 9 video course. And then like obviously a couple community calls. But then I'm like, okay, you know what? Like I can do like way more. And then I ended up bringing on students from my own hometown. This is probably one of my favorite stories to tell, but I have like fucking 8, 9 students from my hometown that are getting results. Dylan Manby, 500K in a year, right?
From the Philippines, hometown.
Not hometown. That would be kind of cool, but no. Honestly, maybe I do have like a student. One of my cousins, her name is JC or Twinkle. She wasn't doing TikTok shop affiliate, and then I told her to do TikTok shop affiliate. Now she's making money in the Philippines, which is like super super neat. But aside from that, from my hometown in Hamilton, 500K in a year, Dylan Manby, right? Taught him. He joined back in like, I think 2022 December, right? Started getting really, really great results. I think September of 2023, and ever since then, September 2023 till now, made $500,000 from my hometown. He went to STM, I went to BR. We were like fucking rivals and shit like that. Number 2, Kalen Benito. He made like 3K or 4K profit or something like that in his second month with me. And I was like, damn, dude, like that's crazy. Also from STM, from my hometown. And then now he's like partnering up with like, because he has a skill set, he also was able to monetize the skill set of content creation to help other business owners make money, get more leads in because he focused on content creation, right? Who else do we have? Russell, my cousin, gave him so much opportunities. Paul, another good friend of mine, a lot of great opportunities, making money online now, right? Who else do we have? IK Usufo. He hit me up on Snapchat. I started posting content being like, I'm living in Miami and shit like that. I'm honcho, this, that. He hit me up. He's like, dude, I have 2 stores. They're both making around, one's making 2 to 3K per month. Another one's making 5 to 8K a month. I hopped on a 2-hour call with him. 3 months or 6 months later, he's already doing his first $110,000 a month, right? Because I told him, hey, this is what's wrong in your business. This is what you need to change. You need to increase the inputs here. Right? Like so many different people have been able to get results from my hometown. That's something that I'm super proud of. And it's interesting because it's just like, if I can get that many people in my hometown to like hop on this wave, you know, Mo, John Mac DeGlass, like all these people, like imagine what I could do just like in other countries and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And what's so interesting is that this skill set works everywhere. Like it'll work in, you know, Australia, the UK, Europe, anywhere. Like content's not going anywhere. And that's like what I teach in like my program. It's just like, okay, like listen, we're going to focus on mastering skill set number 1, which is content creation. Then we're going to master building a storefront or something like that. And then we're going to focus on marketing after. So changing up the offers to make sure that we increase our CVR and everything like that. But, you know, aside from that, it's just like, that's like probably one of the coolest feelings. And I feel like the reason why I got so many results from my hometown is because the pressure of having somebody from your hometown get something from you and buy something from you, it just like, it pushes you in a different way. So then that way, when you come into like the gym or I run into them at the gym or the mall or at a store, they'll come up to me and they'll be like, show respect and stuff.
Yeah, and that's like far more fulfilling than any dollar amount.
Yeah.
Like when you're really able to have put people on, change their lives, and like really create the impact, like it's like, dude, like forget about the dollar, 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, 10,000. I could charge 100,000, but like the fact that you can help someone else change their life, you know, help them break themselves out of the fucking matrix, like that's like, damn.
Yeah, I didn't know personal brand was that fucking like powerful, bro. The only reason why I did it because Misha started doing it and started bringing in cash. I'm like, okay, let's make some cash too.
I thought you
right?
said you were doing it for girls.
What do you mean?
I thought you said you were doing it
That's a
for
side
girls.
project.
Ah, okay.
It's what comes with it. It's what comes with it.
That's a different conversation. But yeah, so I started filming YouTube videos, and people would hop on the call, they'd fucking fanboy me, bro. Like, oh my god,
Crazy.
I've been watching your videos. I'm like, I don't know how to fucking react to this. I'm like, bro, what do you mean? I just posted 2 videos and like it's already going crazy, you know?
Yeah.
Where was I going with this?
The power of personal brand. You didn't realize it?
Yeah, I didn't realize. Well, we didn't even have to. I don't have to sell anything.
Yeah, it's the pre-sale. It's the marketing, bro. I was telling you about the marketing.
They're like, I already know
it's
how
one
much
of the
it
most
is.
important
I'm ready
thing,
to
yeah.
go. Let's
They
go.
just wanted you to say, here, like, just put your credit card here. We're
Well,
good
it's,
to go.
And it's like even the Instagram post that I get every other day, like people at their home taking a picture of them watching my YouTube video, putting them on their fucking story and tagging
Yeah.
me like best sales training ever. I'm like, wow.
Yeah, they're so pre-sold. Yeah, they just need to see like your face and be reassured that, you know, everything that, you know, they expect is going to be there. And obviously, like, after they pay, it's all about you and to fulfill that
Exactly.
and make sure that they're happy and their expectations are met.
Yeah.
100%.
No, and it's crazy how we all have this device, this freaking supercomputer in our phone. Every single individual, and freaking I don't know how many billions of people have this, but I'm assuming most of the population has it. Like the fact that you have a supercomputer with a fucking camera and access to millions of people. You know, if you know something, like it's your responsibility to learn how to use this thing to your advantage. You know, personal brand is crazy. I mean, what are you guys seeing with personal brand right now? Like, what's kind of the move? What's the focus? How are things moving?
Yeah. So, I mean, I would say a couple of years ago, less people were in the industry. You know, there was less competition, and you know, saturation is a good thing because saturation means that a lot of people have to innovate, and the people that innovate will stand out on top. And so I think that these days it's extremely important to try your very best to be yourself and be authentic and just practice what you preach and make sure to preach. Because preaching, like I said, with polarization, like you have to have your certain core beliefs and your core values, and you have to stick to them, and people will be attracted to that because you are seen as a leader. And that's how you build a strong personal brand. I'm not the top, in my opinion. Like, I'm not even close to the top. Like, I still have a lot to learn. And I learn from people that, you know, show some of those characteristics that I mentioned.
I think the authenticity, which you just said there, is a big one. But because I think the preaching and giving your value and all of that's kind of understood, right? But like, again, saturation, right? There's so fucking many talking heads who in every single industry who just sit there and just, you know, read off a teleprompter and fucking say something. But it's like people can tell, like people can tell when something is not real. It's very easy. Like, you have a sixth sense for when someone is bullshitting you. You know, I think the authenticity is huge. You know, and being vulnerable as well, right? Because social media is, you know, everyone's social media is kind of just a highlight reel of the best things of their life, right? And if you can be vulnerable, be real, talk
Show
about
your
shit you're actually
failures.
going through, people are just going to connect with you, trust with you so much more.
Yeah.
And then, you know, whatever type of business that you have off that, or even if you're just trying to build an audience, it's just going to be so much more meaningful.
I think like one of the best ways to build an audience is to build as you go, like document everything, you know, show them live. What are you building? How are things working out? You know, that's something that I'm going to be doing for all the brands that I'm going to be working on. And it's just like a next level of authenticity that just builds a insane movement in culture.
Like daily vlogs,
you know, daily vlogs, like I like daily vlogs, day in a life, whatever that might be, like seeing that and showing people that you're a real person and you go through just as much fucking trials and tribulations as they do, but you just have a different way of approaching it and reacting to it, that's like a whole other level of like, you know, content that could be at your disposal. Just post it in front of people.
Do you, because you were telling me about what you're thinking last night, and I'm really excited to see it, bro, for real.
Yeah.
But do you feel like, you know, I don't know, any hesitation or, you know, like does it feel weird to like pull back the curtain and like show people, you know, like your real life and like what's up?
I haven't had a single atom in my body say that like it's the wrong thing to do. Like everything that like I say I'm gonna do it. Like every atom in my body is just so confident in what I'm going to accomplish, and you know, the steps that I'm gonna take. Like I'm gonna make it work regardless, and I'm gonna figure out exactly what works and what doesn't. I'm gonna adapt. I'm gonna adjust. It's like playing the game. You know what I mean? You can gamify the experience of like you learning things, right? And I think like one of the best ways to kind of put it is just like everybody's just so focused on like the big end goal, right? Like what is the big end win? Like is it the 10K? Is it the 100K? But it's just like they have such a hard time of identifying like, okay, what are the other scores, like things that I'm keeping score of? Like how many times am I scripting? Like how many videos am I scripting, or how many hours am I spending editing? You know, like what are the small little wins that you have to identify to feel good about? Because why is it just connected to that end goal? Like guys should be just focusing on like the causes and the actions that you take.
100%.
You know?
Oh yeah.
The goals are just the byproduct of you executing the actions to a high degree of effectiveness.
And like I think just like stacking the evidence, like Rome was actually talking about something earlier about how he would like manifest and just like meditate and just be like, give me more money and stuff like that. Bro, dude, it works so well. Like that's just like a very high level of visualization.
100%.
You know what I mean? And you have to be able to visualize everything. And even when like people say like it's not going to work, just keep visualizing. Like I used to write shit in my notes. Like back in 2020, I used to write down what I wanted. Like this was October 6, 2020, when I was trying to figure out my shit. I already made my 27K and stuff like that.
Bad bitch.
Shut the fuck up. Anyways, October 6, 2020, I was like, you know, figuring out myself and stuff like that. But I'm literally just having a conversation with myself. I'm trying to visualize what I want. But I'm like, do you ever wonder what your purpose in life is? Why things are the way things are? Why you have any objections about taking the journey you are taking? Listen to what the universe is telling you to do. People's mindset is simply accustomed to one goal: freedom. Are you doing something you're happy with? How do you even get freedom? Now, what I'm going to say will probably blow your mind, but to really understand this, you need to be open-minded. But you die before you die. You probably are confused, and I probably sound crazy. But think about this. The feelings that you were once unconscious about before are the feelings that you are conscious about now. As life goes on, you naturally learn to block any emotional context to disrupt you from desirable fulfillment. Understand it, dissect it, and deliver. But you guys should use this phrase to really leverage what your purpose in life is and to literally question everything. We just say a lot of that shit.
Did you write this after reading The Power of Now?
I did write this after reading The Power of Now. I did write this after reading The Power of Now. But like, I would write down like so many, like I have like so much evidence of like me writing down my to-do list, or writing down notes that I took from a book, or writing down like my trials and tribulations, and writing down, you know, what I wanted to achieve, you know, like what car do I want to get? Where do I want to live? Where do I want to be? Who do I want to become? Same thing with you. You know, it's just like you visualize yourself there instead of visualizing yourself what is projected onto you. Like how school literally creates the exact roadmap of what you need to do in order to get into a nursing career or a specific job. Like it literally tells you the classes that you're going to go to, the schedule that they built out for you once you get into a program. It's like, okay, if they've done that and that's the best way of learning, which they're very smart at doing, how do I reverse engineer that and build a schedule myself that I can follow myself to be the best version of myself? You know what I mean? So it's just like, I don't know, visualization is everything. And it's just like, you know, once you start thinking about it, you know, you start to attract it. And
absolutely, because you start stepping into that person that you want to become. And I never said this, but I never said it to anybody, but everything I ever visualized and meditated on in my life, I got. Everything. Woman, money, business partners, everything I visualized. I imagined us in the office managing people before I was even in the office with you guys. I imagined myself living at the Bisha before I lived in the fucking Bisha, bro.
What's your unit number exactly?
I'll text it to you, bro.
Just dox yourself. But yeah, no, for sure. I think a lot of what Adrian also had in his notes is a lot of questions. He was questioning a lot of things that he was saying And I think questioning everything is extremely important. Questioning why you eat the food you eat, why you drink the water you drink, why you do what you do every single day. Look at your schedule, look at your calendar. Why are you doing these things? Are these things contributing to the life that you want to lead, to the life that you want to live? And that's one of the biggest things that people need to start doing in their life, because like I said, their subconscious controls them, and their subconscious is based off the first 10, 20 years of their life and their environment. So you have to start questioning in order to be able to reprogram your subconscious and lead you towards the life that you want to live a couple years from now.
Yes, 100%. Most people go through their life, and I talk to you guys about this a lot, but most people go through life, you can take the yesterday and put it tomorrow, it's the same goddamn day. Because they're either thinking about the past or the future. The past, like, oh, I fucked up, why I did this, and that's not good enough. Or like, they start worrying about the past. There's no more energy in the present moments. There's no more energy to create anything new in your life. Because they live in the familiar past or in the predictable future. So the moment you start realizing that, you start becoming conscious of that, you start stepping into the person you want to be, now you start bringing the energy back to the present moment, and then now, only then you can create something new in your life. Otherwise, you take yesterday, it's the same tomorrow. And it just takes it just takes awareness when you realize that you're doing that. Just be conscious of that. And the way that I help myself doing that is I literally we do two things. Every time I'd go under like a fucking frame door, or like a doorway under like any frame, I'll remind myself that I'm trying to step into that person I want to be. Like, oh, how am I thinking right now? Am I thinking like the person I want to become? How am I feeling? Right? And sometimes I'll write a letter P on my finger here. I'm sales calls, like I'm trying to become this best closer. Am I speaking? Am I using the right tonality? Am I acting? Am I feeling? Am I thinking that way? I just kept on like stepping into that person every single day. It's easy as that.
Yeah, it's interesting because people are either in the past, the future, and if they're in the present, they're doing the things that are easy, and they're like, for example, eating shit food, eating a hamburger. They're not sacrificing what they want now for what they want most. So they're either in the past, the future, or they're doing some bullshit and not working at what they want most.
I think that's something that's like super important in terms of like gamifying and just like visualization, is just being able to tap into like your childhood senses. And this is something that I talk to my students a lot of the times, using your imagination, right? Like, we used to imagine so many great things as kids. Like, we probably wanted to be a superhero. We wanted to be an astronaut. We wanted to do whatever. But then as soon as like we started getting into school, all the pressure of like making sure that you're staying on top of your classes, getting good grades, that you're, showing your parents a really good report card, all that pressure kind of takes away from your ability to think like a child. And like, when you start coming into, and this is something that I read from a book about like Jeff Bezos' thoughts. He always says, like, think like a child. You'll feel so much better taking action, thinking like a child, because you'll have fun. You'll gamify the experience of your journey of wherever the fuck you want to be. Like, it's super important. And like, what I realize is that, when I start thinking like a child and all the businesses that I'm doing and all the lessons that I'm trying to learn, like, it makes it so much easier. Like, I'm just enjoying the process of it. Like, think about this. Like, when we were little kids, we used to genuinely believe that if the floor was lava, the floor was lava. If my pinky toe touched that shit, my pinky toe fell off. Like, I'm dead. You know what I mean? Like, dude, that's it. That's just a whole other level of enlightenment that we lose to the Matrix. Like, I'm not even kidding.
For real.
And like, that, the sad truth is that a lot of people have not tapped into that for fucking years because of all the stress, the pressure. Now, if we're able to tell them like, hey, listen, like, think about this, like, gamify it a little bit. Like, this is fun. It's supposed to be fun. Life is supposed to be, life's not always supposed to be about fun and happiness. It's supposed to be about feeling all these different levels of emotions. But however, you have a much better advantage thinking like a child than not thinking like a child when it comes to starting your business. I was sitting at a table at my cousin's like little birthday party, or my aunts and uncles, and I was playing with my niece, right? And she wanted to do a tea party. And we were sitting down. She's like, yeah, I need you to sit here. I need you to sit here. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna sit down right there. Okay, what are we doing? We're gonna have a tea party. Okay. She gets like a fucking Build-A-Bear, another doll, and herself and me, and we're playing with these fucking like plastic ass toys and shit. She's like, I want you to eat the grape. I'm like, okay, I'll eat the grape. You know, I was like, oh, I'm eating the grape. She's like, no, you have to eat it. Do you want tea? I'm like, yeah, I'll pour you tea. Starts pouring it. And she's pouring it into my cup. And she's like, I need you to drink it. No, drink it. I'm like, okay, I'm drinking it. Okay, now give some to Anna. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? But in her mind, she's like, this shit's legit. Like, this is actually happening. Like, we're actually having a tea party. And I'm just like, I couldn't comprehend like her level of imagination. Like, just how she's just envisioning this whole process. And I'm just sitting here like fucking egotistical, blocking my fucking imagination to feel free like a kid again. And I'm just like, holy shit, like, what am I doing? Let me just live in the moment. Let me be present for a little bit. Let me just have fun. Let me just visualize and imagine this moment that it's actually legit. Changed our whole relationship. I started having more fun. She started enjoying the process a little bit more. But like, just thinking like a child and just like applying that to your business and your understanding of development, it just makes things so much more easier. Like, life doesn't always have to be about like all this stress and bullshit. Like, it can actually be fun. And if you come into it with that kind of perspective, the whole game changes. And that's something that I've done.
That's powerful.
And it's like, it's super cool, man. Like,
Yeah, it was deep.
but it's sick though. Like, a lot of
Shout
people
out Anna.
strip a lot of people, their whole imagination of thinking like a child gets stripped as soon as they get into college, university, and like, you know, puberty and falling in love and all this bullshit. It's literally designed to make you go through those emotions.
Well, it's interesting because you know, visualization is such a massive part of you know, just accomplishing new levels of where you're trying to go. And visualization, it is imagination, right? But it's like as you grow up, it's like, okay, no, like, you're getting older now, right? Like, you're not supposed to do that anymore,
Yeah.
Mhm.
right? And like, that's the fucking program. So you have to rewire your shit to get back to it. That's really cool.
Oh, I hate when people say be realistic. I
Like,
hate
who the
that
fuck
shit.
are you to tell me?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think what was interesting, I was in nursing school and I was sitting there, like, I think it was like a month in, and I'm sitting there taking advice from a fucking teacher that has such a, I'm going to say miserable life. I'm sure she's living a great life, but like, it's just not the life that I wanted. And I was taking her advice and I sat there and I actually came to my senses and I was like, I want to get fucking rich. I want to fucking make money. Why am I listening to this fucking prick? Like, how is this person going to help me? And what also pissed me off is that while I was in college, I went out to my first party in college. I shit you not, went downstairs in the basement. It's a bunch of 28-year-olds, 30-year-olds. They're all fucking taking shrooms. They're drinking. They're all smoking weed and stuff like that. And the mom had a fucking little girl that's 7 years old sleeping in the student room. And I'm like, how are you doing all these drugs and doing all this bullshit in nursing school trying to get your life together and your little girl is sleeping in your fucking bedroom?
Yeah, that's wild.
Like, is this the path that I'm on? Bro, that pissed me off so much. And like, I was actually genuinely embarrassed, like, for her. And I started looking at like all these other people that were in there and I was like, bunch of fucking degens.
Yeah, that's one of those moments where you're like, yo, like, I gotta get the fuck out.
I gotta get the fuck
Yeah,
out. It
that's
just
it.
didn't align
Yeah.
with what I wanted.
Yeah.
You know, like, life's short. You want to do the things that life is just too fucking short to do fucking debauchery shit like that for like the amount of years that she's been doing it for. You know, late 20s, early 30s, whatever it is. It's just like, this is bullshit.
What's one piece of advice that like you guys would give to, you know, call it like the version of yourself in like 2019 before you really started in business? Like what's like knowing what you know now and being on the journey over the last 4 or 5 years, like what's one thing that you would say to that version of yourself starting out?
I'll keep it short, but don't allow anybody's opinions to turn your own special qualities against you.
Don't allow anyone's opinions to turn your own qualities against you.
I would say if you don't like the vibes, leave the vibes.
Create the vibe.
Or find the vibe that you like.
Yeah.
Nice. Sick. I like that. Simple, to the point. I learned a lot. A lot on this pod. This was a great conversation. This was awesome, guys. Where can the people find you guys?
IG down below.
Tapa.ai. Adrian Dimac.
I think honestly, like, IG's great and we post a lot of stuff on Instagram, but YouTube and long form content is really where we go in depth and we speak about things. I think that's really important because short form content, you only get like short bursts of things. Long form, you learn a lot more and you can rewatch and digest. What about you, Adrian?
You can follow me on Instagram at Adrian Dimac, and you also should check out my YouTube channel. I go pretty in depth into everything that I do. I'm pretty transparent on there. Got a lot of long raw videos on there that you guys can watch that delves deep into my story. So yeah, Adrian Dimac, check that out.
Yeah, all linked down below. Check it out. Guys, thank you. Shout out to the real ones who made it 2 hours with us. Guys, thank you for hopping on. This was dope. This was amazing, guys. Drop it up right there. Any final words from you guys?
Drop a comment. What was your biggest takeaway? Let's get some thoughts in the comments.
And as always, guys,
Charge it to the
charge it to the game. Cheers. See you guys on the next one.